Hello and welcome to OPL Saturday for Week 5, coming to you live from the Riot Studios here in Sydney, Australia. My name is Michael Hingersing, and it is an absolute pleasure to have your company today. Get in touch and follow along throughout today. Hashtag I'm OPL on social media because we have a massive day of esports ahead of us. First up, we see a new look Tainted Minds side go up against Abyss, who will see this as an opportunity to get a win on the board for the split. And then it is a match of our week, our match of the week, with the top of the table clash. The currently undefeated Chiefs take on an in-form Avant-Garde who are 3 wins on the trot. Both matches are massively hard to predict. So, like a hot air balloonist who's just found out there's a chance their spouse was unfaithful just before they cast off on their Valentine's Day ride, there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. All right, joining me to break down the games as they happen, we have our in-house OPL analyst, Nathan Mendrix-Mendez. Hello, how are you? Speaking of romance, looking very good in your little Eiffel Tower shirt today.
Thank you very much. I feel it's a bit appropriate, since we just came out of Valentine's Day, and that joke is just perfect to go with it as well. So,
and also our special guest today, you would know him as the support and captain for XL5. It is Bradley T-Gun Seymour, and thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing? How's your week been this week? You feeling good?
We've finally sorted out our roster issues, so no complaints from me. Hopefully we can perform really well tomorrow and break our, what is it, 8-game losing streak?
Hey,
I'm not going to talk about my losing streak. It's a lot longer. Because that list is...
Come on, buddy. All right.
But yeah, it's 8
Stay
games,
positive.
so hopefully
Stay
we can break
positive. All right, well, we look forward to any announcements for your team coming up soon. All right, well, let us take a look at the standings because it is, things are all up. Like we said, XL5, Abyss, and Tainted Minds in the drop zone right now. Sin Gaming and Direwolves on 5 and 8 points apiece. Legacy in equal second with Avant-Garde on 9 points, who might be able to take it off the Chiefs, that first place, depending on who takes out the winnings today. Woo! It's a very exciting, very close ladder towards the top there. A lot of argy-bargy could take it up. Well, let's take a look at your weekend's viewings and get the schedule on your screen, because we're going to be seeing, starting things off with Tainted Minds versus Abyss. And then we're going to be seeing later on tonight the Chiefs take on Avant-Garde. Then tomorrow from 3 p.m. it is Legacy versus XL5. Can Legacy cement that second place with a win over T-Gun's boys? And finally tomorrow night we're going to be seeing Sin Gaming take on the Direwolves, both looking to bounce back after their losses last week. Well, before we move on, we should talk about this Tainted Minds game coming up today, because obviously there's been a lot of speculation about the roster. There's been 4 changes, and what we can say is that there is an ongoing contract dispute between their coach, their captain, Rosie, as well as Shorter Race, Cake, and Choo-Choos, between those guys and the organization. That's all we can say about that right now, but it does mean there are going to be 4 new players stepping onto the Rift for Tainted Minds today, T-Gun. And one of them, Pabu, you used to play with.
Yeah, and he's very good. And most of the roster is just pretty good new players, so I want to talk about them as opposed to anything else. Pabu, great player, hasn't played in the OPL because of a couple issues. Mostly he lives in Melbourne instead of Sydney. Fesh, he helped X5 get through the relegation to promotion series and then unfortunately couldn't stay with X5. Then you have Brawler, a mainstay who's been around the scene for a very, very long time. And 2 more mainstays. Pradev swapping from top to mid, he's going to play really, really well. I guarantee it. He's a lot of the champions that can be played in top now can be played in mid. And then of course you have Grisha to round out the team. He's only been playing ADC for 3 months, so he might be a little rusty, but I mean, nothing's changed in 3 months, so it's got to be enough time.
What's like for him specifically, there's only 3 major ADCs at the moment that he really needs to look into and practice. So Jhin, Varus, Ashe, as long as he's got those 3 down pat, he's looking pretty strong in the bot lane.
Yep.
All right, well, their opponents, Mendrix, today will be Abyss, who are looking for their first big win of the split. Will they see this as perhaps an inexperienced team that they're going to try and capitalize on? Is this an opportunity for them to kickstart their season?
It definitely is an opportunity for them specifically to take advantage of these roster changes, see if perhaps the synergy is not quite there yet. They are a really new side that they're going up against. And this means that they've had their 5 weeks to really prepare, get themselves ready, and say, yes, we're at that point. We've had these incremental improvements. We're ready to take the first win.
I still wouldn't put too much pressure on Abyss. While it's a new lineup from Tainted Minds, they're all really good, really solid players who have experience. So it's not exactly just new players coming out of nowhere that haven't done anything. They're all great players. They can't be underestimated, and we can't just overlook them.
Absolutely. All right, well, let us get to it, because earlier today I spoke to the one member of Tainted Minds who is playing from last week to this week, Pradeep, and I started our conversation by asking him about how he felt about the upcoming match.
So I'm feeling pretty confident because they'll be under a lot of pressure to win this game, because if they don't, they could easily miss out on playoffs. So I want to look to make them panic and make them feel under pressure. And hopefully we can use that and come out on top today.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, and best of luck in the game today.
Thank you.
There we are. Pradeep looking to make Abyss panic in the game today, and if his talent plays from last week or anything to go by, that is a real potential. But let us get straight to it and look at this. Take a look at this new Tainted Minds lineup as they're getting ready on stage. Let's bring up the lineup. It's Pabu in the top lane. Fesh, their jungler. Pradeep, who we just spoke to, will be in mid. Grisha, their AD carry, and Brawler will be playing support. Now, Tegan, you were telling me that Grisha is actually a support main until 3 months ago when he switched to AD carry. You're a support. How good's your AD carry play?
It is my off role in solo queue, and I assume that was what Grisha did, and that's why I made the transition.
Because you know the matchups, right?
Yeah, you understand everything in bot lane. Understanding both sides of bot lane is really, really helpful. So hopefully he can transition that, bring that to the team, and really help them win bot lane, because I assume Abyss is just not going to care about them.
It really is the easiest transition than any other lane. Like if you try to make the transition from, say, for example, top to ADC, you don't understand how that matchup works. You're basically working with another human being. It's almost impossible, completely different dynamics. So when you are the support player making the move to ADC, you already understand that dynamic, and it's much easier for you to make that move across.
I will say the biggest problem I foresee him having is he might be a bit too aggressive. He might try and go too deep, because that's what you generally did on supports, especially the tanky things. So he might have to rein it in, calm himself down, and play a bit more passive. But, I mean, that's yet to be seen.
All right. Well, let us take a look at their opponents today. Abyss, whose chances to make playoffs really begin to sleep if they don't find a win today, early today. I spoke to their AD carry, Raid, and I started by asking him about how going up against a relatively unknown lineup affected their preparation for today's match.
Well, it hasn't really affected us at all, because we know their players that are filling in, especially Pabu and Fesh, which are probably the two players we're going to look to man out the most. Their bot lane is, we don't really know too much about them, but that shouldn't be a problem. And yeah, we're just going to stick to our normal prep, and we should be able to take the win.
All right, well, on that note of uncertainty, today also sees the release of 7.3 into competitive play for Oceania. What are your thoughts on the state of AD carries right now in the game?
ADC is exactly the same. It's just pretty much utility-based. You might see some more Lucian, Cogmore, maybe some more Israel, but ADC is pretty much all the same, just still utility.
More just Jhin.
More lethality, yeah.
Just Jhin,
Lethality's still there, so just Jhin Varus, I guess, yeah.
So finally, coming into today's match, you guys are still looking for your first big match win of the season. Is today going to be it?
Yes, we should be able to take the win today.
Excellent. Well, best of luck in the game, and thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
There we have Raid seeming very confident ahead of the match today. All right, let's take a look at the guys getting ready in the studio. And as we take a look at their lineup, ooh, confident faces there. We're going to see Pac-Man in the top lane. Their jungler, Seb. In the mid lane, it's Frey. Their AD carry. Their AD carry we just spoke to. And Kuden, their support player. And Mendrix, these guys had a good early game against Chiefs, game 1 last week, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And specifically what I like about it is how they were being proactive. And I would love to actually call up some replays that we had, particularly on their teleport plays. And really, when you look at these replays, you see that they are being proactive across the board. The first one is a bit reactive, and then the second one is more proactive. So as you can see with this one here, this is initially an overzealous dive from the Chiefs. What makes this a proactive play, not just simply reactive, is how long Pac-Man actually holds the Chiefs in place to continue this team fight, and the choice to bring Frey down. As you can see, he's about to come up just here, get the snipe onto Raze there. And really, it is just a matter of them saying, you know what, we can continue this team fight, make it happen for us. This ends up giving them a bit of quite a big advantage in the early game against the Chiefs, which we don't tend to see too often. And then the next replay coming up, this is a response to the Chiefs getting the Dragon. Immediately they moved everyone towards the mid lane, and they cut off the retreat using Pac-Man. And this is exactly like what we want to see from Abyss. They need to stop playing this reactive, passively losing game, and just make this regular occurrences in all of their games.
Yeah, like you said, what they need to do is take chances. The biggest thing we've seen from them is that they die slowly. They don't try and win, and that's what you need to do as a player. You need to try and win. instead of just sitting back hoping, hey, maybe they'll make a mistake. Hey, maybe we won't lose for 30 minutes. That's not a win. Nothing about that.
It just doesn't really work like that because you're relying on your team to make the mistakes, and that's really a strategy for failure if you really look at it.
Well, our analysts here saying that they should just roll the dice and get aggro, I assume, is what the advice is. Well, speaking of rolling dice and taking chances, last week we saw Praetor pick up Talon in the top lane, and I want to bring up some stats about that because this, as a pick, was completely unseen, Mendrix.
Yeah, absolutely. What I really want to touch on there is how much gold he managed to earn. It was actually a pretty standard game. For him to be near the 20,000 mark means he was doing everything perfectly pretty much throughout that entire game. An excellent KDA, excellent CSing across the board, and a 65% kill participation as a top laner is something that you don't really see too often. So he was playing amazingly in that game specifically.
Yeah, and he did it on an off-meta champion, so maybe that'll be sort of a notation for what they're going to do today. Maybe they won't look to go back to meta champions. Maybe they'll just try and play comfort things. Maybe we'll see Talon in the mid lane. It is a flexible champion. Maybe we'll see weird things. Pabu's been known to play Alawi before.
Yeah.
And I want to see those things because I think that's what they should go to if they want to win.
And on the flip side, though, I mean, I want to take a look into it in terms of it being, well, the meta picks are there for a reason. These specific picks are very 100% efficiency. And when you go for these more comfortable picks, yes, you may be playing really well, but you're really only playing at 90% of the capacity that you're supposed to. And as this is competitive, you really need to take it to that next notch.
Yeah, but I mean, in my opinion, 90% and performing at that 90% is that better than trying to play a meta champion and playing them poorly. You see that happen a lot in solo queue. People are like, oh, LeBlanc's up, I've got to pick it. And they suck.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to just pick Camille because it's open and someone sucks at it. I want them to pick what they're comfortable with, what they're good with, and give us a show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of very specific picks, we are currently running a social media competition that you can get involved with off the back of last week's Crazy Picks. Which unorthodox champion will be played next in the OPL? Tell us why using hashtag IamOPL. The 5 most creative answers will win a mystery skin. So what have we seen so far? We've seen, we saw Talon, we saw Quinn, we saw Jarvan last week, we saw Tryndamere. I mean, I know for a fact. Look, you're gonna be looking for a Blitzcrank, obviously, T-Gun.
That's not unorthodox.
No, not unorthodox.
That's completely orthodox.
Completely meta. And Mendrix, I assume you're gonna be looking for that sweet Udyr mid lane.
Oh, definitely. Udyr mid lane, Udyr top lane, Udyr anywhere. It just works across the board. And that's exactly what I did back in Season 4. So
Yeah. And what has changed in the past 2.5, 3 years? Nothing, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Well, let us get your predictions because opltips.com.au is where you can go to let us know your tips. And my goodness, Tainted Minds way out in front of this one. Almost 75% think it's going to be a win. But most people saying that Abyss can take a game. Almost 44% saying. So let me get your guys' predictions as we come back from that. Let me start with you, T-Gun. Who's going to win this one and by what margin?
I think the majority is right. I think 44% of you have your head screwed on. But it's not going to be clean games. It's going to be fiestas. They're going to be all over the shop. They're going to ARAM. Sin's going to be mad that someone else has taken their thing. And I'm going to give it to Tainted Minds 2-1.
So I'm going to echo off that and say it will be also a 2-1 to Tainted Minds. I've seen these guys play in terms of the newer players, Fesh, Pabu. I know they're exceptional players. So if they can turn on, they can definitely bring it to Abyss. But without Abyss, taking at least one game, I see them doing that.
So just so we're clear, you're saying it's 2-1?
2-1 to Tainted Minds.
All right. Well, across the board here, 2-1s to Tainted Minds. Let the fiesta begin. Let's get into game one by throwing to our casters, Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. I'm Matthew Fish Stewart, and joining me is the ever-so-dashing Jake Spawn Tiberi, and we're about to get into the first match of Week 5 of the OPL.
But let's talk about the important news. It is your birthday, Fish. 23 years old. Happy birthday, my friend. You're looking stunning in a birthday suit. Maybe not the one the viewers wanted you to wear, but very nice indeed.
Yeah, we almost went on birthday suit, Spawn. Unfortunately, we were hard-nowed by our producers. Would have been nice.
Would have been a comfortable change.
Yeah, definitely. Literally and metaphorically there. But now that we are going into Champions League for the first match of today, Tainted Minds with a completely overhauled roster taking on Abyss, who are still yet to find a win here in the OPL.
And I just love watching some of these guys get a new chance. You see Pabu there on your screen going absolutely nuts. Of course, promoted in with XL5, was too young to play. Then when he was of age, you know, could only live in Melbourne. The kid's still at high school, so they, of course, went with Pac-Man, so there's a little bit of a rivalry there. Fesh, of course, promoted in last time around with XL5 and wasn't picked up on that roster. So these guys have been on the brink. I mean, Brawler was from Sudden Fear way back when, if you remember that team. Had Christmas trees on it. So we've known about these players for a long time, and it's great to see them finally get an opportunity to take it to Summoner's Rift in the OPL.
And hopefully be able to make the most out of that. These are, like you said, not really unknown players here. Tegan spoke very highly of a couple of them on the desk, and interested to see if they're going to be able to step up to the plate here today in their OPL debut. Tainted Minds do have Praetor heading into the mid lane, so we do expect him to be, you know, the veteran / experienced member of the team.
And I expect them to late pick mid lane for Praetor and take away some meta picks in round 2 if Frey doesn't pick it up. I don't think they're going to want to play Control Mage into Control Mage. I think that for those that watch FlyQuest today, you know, we saw a Jarvan into a Zed. That's the kind of matchup that I think that Praetor will be able to excel in.
On top of that, we already talked to Raid from Abyss, mentioning his team was going to be really looking towards Pabu and Fesh as their targeted bans. So we'll have to see if they're going to try and take out those two to kick things off. And kind of open up the champion pool for Praetor as well.
And Pabu's a weird player because he plays a lot of Allow, he plays some Jason, things like that. But then in competitive play, when he was in the OCS, he was pretty much just a tank player. Just another random, you know, OPL tank player. There was lots of them at that stage. However, I do know that he has a diverse champion pool when he wants to, but hasn't necessarily gone to it in competitive play. As T-Gun said, much more standard picks out of the young top laner.
Yep.
He's a good teleport user. Look for him to set up some flanks.
Yeah, let's see if Pabu can help Tainted Minds out here. Krisha and Brawler as well, the unknowns for Tainted Minds at the moment. You see Pabu a little bit hyped up there to pick up Varus as the first pick.
I talked to him. He missed his plane last night due to the bad weather in Sydney. He flew up this morning, 7:30 a.m. And for a kid that should be extremely sleep deprived, I mean, that night going into your first competitive game can be very disturbing. He was all up and about. I mean, he's an energetic young guy. For anyone that's got him on social media, you pretty much know that.
I mean, I've mentioned this before, but he was one of the few people that were really disappointed that the OPL was going into offline play because he's still in high school. He really wanted to step up and play in the OPL. So the fact that he's getting his chance here today, he must be really excited for this one. He's already locked in Varus as the first pick for the team, but bans have gone through as well. LeBlanc, Malzahar, Syndra are taken away on the side for Tainted Minds. Kha'Zix, Rengar, Jace from Abyss. No Camille ban. We saw a hover of it, but it has been nerfed slightly in 7.3.
Certainly has, and there seems to be some answers to it. I mean, the Shen pick is showing up internationally with an early Tiamat. You can shove her in. You've got that W to take some nice trades with her. You know, Alawi from the Chiefs came out. Singed has been played a fair bit into her as well. You go Tabby, you go move quick build, and then you're just able to outpace her in the laning phase. So I think there is a lot of things that you can throw into the now nerfed Camille.
Yeah, we saw Singe actually played last night in the LPL against Camille to good success.
In the laning phase.
In the
Afterwards, the Caitlyn took over.
Afterwards, can't really fling a Camille that's diving into the backlines when you're all the way in the backline yourself.
Oof.
Wow, Tainted Minds, they're going to be picking up Elise for Fesh in the jungle. And they've locked in a very early Nami here for Brawl in the bot lane.
Yeah, they certainly have. So maybe not wanting that champion pool to be squeezed. We've already talked about the fact that Grisha, Brawler, these are the two relatively unknown. Brawler's been around for a long time, but, you know, flirted around the edges of the Masters and Challenger, things like that. Grisha, of course, as we said, role swap. You want to secure him a nice champion. So it makes sense. Don't let them get banned out in Phase 2. I mean, already, Praetor, Pabu, they probably have a similar champion pool. You can't really hit that too hard.
On the flip side of this, they've locked in Camille as their third pick in the first pick rotation. Jin as well as Karma were their bottom lane picks to go as their first rotation. And the bans have come through. Graves being taken away by Fesh. We have Fiora being banned out by Abyss. Still very common second round ban.
Yeah, and as I said, Pabu is known to once again play carries when he has to. He actually prefers it. I mean, he can play tanks. What I want to talk about is this is kind of like utility across the board. And then even though Camille is a big diver and things like that, she still brings a lot of utility to the team. She can set up 1-4 nicely. She has a big swooping initiate in that E. You know, she's very hard to push out a lane, things like that because of the sustain built into her W. So very similar, like just strong utility picks coming across from both teams.
And it's kind of what we see when we get LeBlanc, Jace, Rengar, and Kha'Zix being banned out in games. You know, lots of 80k support picks in the first pick rotation, and then you either flex your jungler or top laner as your third and final pick here. Both teams have gone through a similar pattern. That does mean Tainted Minds have heavy bans towards Seb here, with Graves and Lee Sin hitting the bench. So So Raid will be picking up Rek'Sai for 7 in jungle, and an Alawi ban coming up from Biss, really respectful towards Pabu.
Exactly right. They know Pabu wants to play a brawler up there in the top lane, especially if you haven't played comp for a while. I mean, I think he was on Tainted Minds B side, Pabu, and now he's up. But you know, there is some of that communication, can't really get it going, and that makes sense. You know, play a lane bully, play something that can take over from that laning phase.
Interior Crocodile Alligator of Renekton's been locked in here for Pabu. Gonna be taking that one up into the top lane. Another pick that we commonly see Chiefs top lane, a Swiper pick up from time to time.
Yeah, Swiper, some areas, like, they've played Tryndamere, they're playing Renekton. Like, why are people in my pocket picks all of a sudden? I wanted to do this.
He's like, well, I thought when Jish left, things would get better for me, but they're not. And we have Zed heading into the mid lane as well for Praedith.
And I called it last week. He's actually a really good Zed player. I've seen it running around in solo queue a lot from Praedith. It's really interesting to watch him play. Needless to say, he's as aggressive in the mid lane when he gets an assassin as he was in the top lane. Of course, now Kuden just cycling through all the champions that were played last week from the Tainted Minds lineup. I think they'll settle on the rise. That's a good, strong champion.
Frey will be taking that one into the mid lane. Very commonly picked during the first few pick rotations from a lot of teams internationally. Not as highly favored in the OPL unless you're the Direwolves.
Yeah, can't really get access to the backline in the OPL just because we fight front to back a lot. And the more spells that Rise chucks into the front line, I guess the less useful he is at the moment just because of the space between the front and back line. Got things like Varus and Jhin running around that just have 3,000 range. But all things considered, we've got a brawl-heavy team comp with, you know, a fair amount of CC against a very standard 1-3-1, take over the map, strangle you out kind of comp out of Abyss. And if Tainted Minds taught us anything about Chaos last week, it is that it is successful in the OPL.
It certainly is, but still both teams have a lot of brawler-like champions like you mentioned, so we can expect a lot of fighting to take place from the get-go between these two teams. Even Ignite being taken into the mid lane by Praedith here to go up against Frey.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he wants to look to unlock that mid lane with a couple of quick kills, get Fesh in there. The thing that we've seen out of so many mid laners that go Elise Assassin is that is a part of the map that you have to target. Because if you don't snowball those two champions, they fade away into, you know, pick or split push, which is just not what Tainted Mind wants to do with a new roster that hasn't played that many scrims together.
It certainly is not. Tainted Minds, you know, very new with these four new players for their team. And Abyss, you know, have stuck to this roster for some time. They've settled in with Frey. Look like they're very comfortable playing him, but still yet to pick up their win.
And I mean, last week was a great step forward because they were willing to make proactive plays against the best team. However, sometimes that's easier to do. Sometimes when you know that the game is going to be an uphill battle from day one, you're just like, we're going to throw caution to the wind. We're going to play a very reckless style. I want to see if they can translate that through now into a team that they actually should beat. I mean, Abyss, you've been together for a couple of months now, been scrimming, been in that team house together. You have to be able to take this game, to be able to give your fans hope.
It'll give them a lot of momentum as well, coming back into the OPL with a win over Tainted Minds here today. But Tainted Minds will not be going down without a fight, and might not even be going down at all here as we get back onto Summoner's Rift for the first match of the day between Tainted Minds and Abyss. And as we get onto it, just want to mention, you know, I'm not the only birthday boy here today. Spawn. We also have Fesh from Tainted Minds playing on his birthday.
Certainly is. First competitive game in the OPL. Birthday boy. I mean, that's got to feel good. Wake up, eat some cake. I had a donut for breakfast. Similar kind of diet, Fish. Be able to get into an OPL game, nice and high on that energy. Crash after game one. Start sculling Red Bulls. I mean, that's just the life, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, even Rusty got me a nice little donut for my birthday. So shout out to Rusty. Give him a thanks at Rusty lol. For now, though, we do have both teams just fanning out across the map, kind of scouting their jungle entries, but neither team really doing anything too cheeky at level 1.
Yeah, exactly right. And I expect this to be a game that is going to be won or lost highly through the laning phase. It's going to be up to whether Fesh can get in there, really mix it up, whether Seb can counter that with some good pathing. Rek'Sai can actually shut down Elise if you're able to get to a lot of ganks second and make sure that you're making her life a little bit miserable. So see how the laning phase goes for Tainted Minds, because I feel if they get ahead, they're just going to snowball this a la solo queue style. If Abyss are able to go with them, you know, start pushing in, then that macro play should come out trumps.
Well, minions have crashed in the mid lane already, getting the action underway. Frey have already taken a little bit of harass from Frey in this lane. The melee range of Zed, not too comfortable in the early levels against a ranged champion like Rice.
Certainly isn't. It comes to about level 4 or 5 when you have, you know, couple of those extra spells, you know, a couple of points in queue where you can actually start all-inning quite successfully. You need to be careful that you don't take too much damage before then, Fish, because otherwise the laning phase is just over for you.
Yep. Now Frey's doing a pretty good job. Praetor will be able to farm up quite nicely. Both of them starting with the refillable pot to kick things off. Frey with the Sapphire Crystal to try and get that 16 CS back. Pick up a tier nice and early. We check in with the bottom lane, Raiden Kuden against Grisha and Brawler, the new AD carry and support for Tainted Minds. These are kind of the two unknowns for the team at the moment.
Certainly is, but they're kind of going to try and Kuden. And what I mean by that is Kuden is very well known for playing an annoying champ pool that is all about sustain and keeping people topped up and just guaranteeing farm for his AD carry and playing very passive. That is the exact same playstyle you expect out of Brawler on this Nami. I mean, just get Grisha through the harass. They've started with 3 potions each. I mean, Nami's able to top up as well. This should not be a big surprise.
There is action in the mid lane though. Praetor's looking for Frey. Oh, predicts the flash coming out from Fesh. Will be able to take down Frey for first blood, but he's locked underneath the turret and a double kill comes out of Seb.
I mean, but you can see why people were excited about Fesh when he was on Exile 5. Gets the mad life there with the cocoon. That is one for the highlight reel. Happy birthday, young man. Guaranteed first blood, but still big for Abyss as they're able to pick up a double kill on Seb, as well as the fact that they're freezing out this mid lane, going to make it very hard for the Zed to get back in. As we see it one more time, you see the flash forward, throws the cocoon out sideways. That is a mad life if I've ever seen one. They 100% commit, as you should. First blood over to a Zed, always a good thing. But now they need to be able to keep pace of Seb, who is going to be looking to, just play that pathing style, continue to exert pressure over the map.
And while we were in that replay, Pabu actually gets a solo kill up in the top lane against Pac-Man. Heads back to base, picks up a Doran's Blade with an extra cloth armor. Hopefully we'll be able to get a look at that.
And a lot of people on Twitter were like, I'm still going with Tainted Minds. And everyone was like, why? Brand new team. And they were like, if a team has a raw talented lineup like Pabu, Fesh, Praetor, there is just all the chance that they outmuscle you first 15 minutes of the game and you never get a look in. I mean, then you're not even playing League of Legends at that time. You're just playing, solo queue. This is actually going to be the kill up in the top lane. Looks like it's a little bit of a turret dive, potentially. I mean, Pabu. No. Oh, yeah. Engage actually onto him from Pac-Man there, and Pabu just lays a smackdown. Ooh. I mean, that's rough. When you engage onto a crocodile and he just bites your face off. Of course, as I said, no love lost between these two. Pac-Man relegated with Trident, but then brought onto Abyss for Pabu's spot. So definitely some history there.
Still must be a good feeling though for Pabu. First game back in the first game in the OPL, up against Pac-Man, gets a solo kill nice and early.
Yeah, a little bit of a emoji spam there. Renekton's actually one of the things I do love about Renekton, which is completely irrelevant as Fesh comes into the mid lane again.
Not going to be able to land that cocoon.
He's got a cheeky laugh.
He does.
Is where I'm going. Very good cheeky laugh out of that crocodile.
He's the champion I used to learn how to play top lane. Very
you
fun
didn't learn well.
That is true.
Joking, it's your birthday.
I'll stick to misfortune, Spawn. Just press arm, we're all right. But now that we know Fesh staying up in the top lane for now, Pabu already doing a good job in this lane, making sure the minions push back towards his side of the map, making it difficult for Pac-Man to farm at the moment. You can see he's conceding quite a bit of CS here. 16 down against the Renekton. Bottom lane though, Grisha and Brawler not having that great of a time against the Jhin and Karma combo.
I mean, they certainly aren't, but at the end of the day, 9 CS in the bottom lane, especially for a new bottom lane, is what you kind of expect. You definitely don't expect a 20 CS lead and a solo kill in the top lane. That's probably the most surprising part of this map. However, it is mirrored kind of in the jungle because Fesh has gone very gank heavy at the start of this game. And Seb, one good pathing double kill into a very quick clear. He's 35 CS going in 14.
On top of that, we really see Varus start to come online. And about level 9, once his Q is nicely maxed out, we'll have to see if that lane changes in the future. We will be able to check in with the gold really quickly here. Heavily in favor of Pablo at the moment, but Seb is carrying the most money on the map right now.
However, he did put it into, I think, a tracking knife, so not going to be all that impactful gold. I mean, eventually, when another 1,000 gold comes in, you have a completed jungle item, then you feel good. But right now, it's a lot of utility stats and tanky stats that he's picked up, which, unless he gets some, once again, good pathing ganks, he's not going to be able to really brute force anything. This isn't the Guts Tiamat Rek'Sai that we're used to seeing, that if you run into him at 10 minutes, he fights you. This is going to just be, a controlled style, and that's what we're used to seeing out of Seb.
But once he's able to pick up those 2 tanky items, we see lots of Rek'Sais go towards health very early on into the game. He will be a tanky beast to kick things off. That's going to be always going to be something very difficult to deal with when you have a very damage-heavy lineup. Pac-Man and Pabu are still going toe-to-toe up in the top lane. See, the Renekton doesn't really care too much about the Camille at the moment.
Just has sustain to match. I mean,
Yep.
as soon as Pabu walks into that lane, throws out a Q, especially if Pac-Man's in there, he's going to be full health again. He has a refillable potion as well, so he's not investing into that anymore. As I said, he has some good sustain. Great wave clear. And these are some things that we theorize would give Camille trouble early. If you have good wave clear, you're able to shove her in, dictate where the wave is. If you have good sustaining, you're able to match her that.
Yep.
She has lots of tools in her kit, but sustain ain't one, Fish, which makes it difficult to play against heavy wave clear.
Meanwhile,
Seb going
Seb
through.
looking for Praetor in the bottom lane, pops the ultimate, trying to dodge out some of the crowd control. He's got to get back to safety, but takes a lot of damage in return, and no summoner spells burnt by either side.
I mean, it has a little bit of a dance. That's a nice gank dodge. However, you know, burning the ultimate means now there's no kill threat onto Frey. Burning the pots means that now Praetor is looking for a bad back timing. So we'll see whether he's able to get himself back into this lane, because the last thing you want is to be trapped under your turret like this as a Zed with absolutely no kill threat.
Takes so much damage in return. He's not going to be able to get these last few minions or even the experience from him, because Frey forces him off the turret. And like you mentioned, bad back timing coming up from Praetor.
And the thing about Ryze at this stage, especially when he's got his double mana item, as Seb actually looking for a Tiki invade, gets the blue.
And Fesh is still only level 5, so can't go toe-to-toe against Seb. We'll be able to steal that away nice and easy.
And now he's going to actually look for a turn. The tunnel's going to open up. Pabu in.
Good damage on towards Pac-Man, but he just hops, skips, and jumps away from
Has the ultimate still up? I mean, they cheated the Rise towards him to make sure that there was no dive forthcoming. Pabu would love to get underneath that turret at this stage of the game. You can see that now Seb firmly up on that top side of the map. Pabu actually going to go for it.
Pops the ultimate. Look at Pac-Man stuns him out of the hook shot. Will get good damage down on towards him. He has to flash away. The ultimate's not going to deal enough damage towards Camille, and Seb has caught up to the Crocodile, but he's going to try and fight him. Renekton almost taking down 2 in the top lane.
And he's 43 CS up, Fish. That is a huge lead right now for Renekton. And one more time, even though his late game is not going to be anywhere near the Camille, if he's 3,000 gold up when he gets there, it's not going to matter.
And although Renekton's late game is not fantastic, he still has something there.
I mean, and with lethality, there's a chance that he just gets on top of the Jhin and one-shots him.
I mean, any champion with a point-and-click stun still does very well as well. Locks someone down for a good old 2 seconds, and they're not going to have a great time, especially when you have a big Crocodile spinning all over them as well. Still very strong at the top lane. You can see the gold is actually pretty even between Tainted Minds and Abyss because of that.
Yeah, I mean, 18 CS in the bottom lane, all of that gold that Seb was sitting on, that's going to equalize nearly anything. Once again, I expected this game to be very solo queuey. 10 minutes, second teleport back towards their turrets for both top laners. They know the importance of being able to win this laning phase. Grisha, Brawler, they're losing heavily at the moment.
This AD carry and support duo from both teams have not gone back to base yet. Spawn still sitting on their longsword. Ray doesn't even use a potion.
I mean, imagine now if teleports were available and someone could actually gank one of them. It would be very impressive. However, it looks like maybe just the jungler going to get involved.
This turret's already very low here in order to see Grisha trying to do what he can to knock them off
They have
the
to back away.
Seb's going to come down, and that will be first turret of the game taken down by Abyss. Pabu, though, up in the top lane. Try to dive.
Kratos actually up here as well.
Try to dive on towards Pac-Man. He's below 200 health. Minions will slowly crash. The Zed doesn't
Ultimate
have
nearly
ultimate.
available again from Pabu.
Ooh, is he going to go in? He does. He's going to get locked down, though, before any damage goes out. Takes the turret aggro and dashes away from it. Allows Praetor to pick up the kill.
Actually very well coordinated. They knew they needed a turret in response. They do give up the Infernal Dragon on the bottom lane, so good news story there out of Abyss. They kind of sacked Pac-Man for that. And you can see that we're going to play 2 halves of the map. We're going to play 2 top lane split pushes in a Zed as well as the Renekton, and we're going to have a very good team fight coming together. I mean, Frey is ahead at this stage of the game. Raid's ahead in CS quite heavily. It's going to be pretty cool to see how this one plays out.
So although Abyss do get the first turret gold there, they might trade it back quite nicely with a turret of their own and a kill. So that should be pretty even. And the gold is fairly even between the 2 teams, but they do get the Infernal Dragon, like you mentioned. Very good at this team. Lots of ability power from the Rise. I mean, Jin's going to be stacking AD like
Throwback. I mean, look at this fish. We've got pretty much a lane swap coming out after first turret's gone down. Both teams content with the laning phase, that means, and all they're going to do is they're going to flip it on their head.
Yep, we're going to see more fighting in the bottom lane. This time round, though, Varus has his tier and close towards his Yomu, so should be able to go toe-to-toe against Raid and Kuden thanks to the poke he provides.
Should just be wave clear as well. You know, as soon as you get the tier, then your mana sustain is up there enough that you can just throw out Qs at the creep wave.
Oh, yeah, that is not fun.
And all of a
That's
sudden,
2
you're in
levels
dive
up.
range again, Pac-Man.
Pabu's-
No ultimate. Pabu's got the ultimate. He has to back away. He's going to lose so much CS on this turret.
This Camille is not having a great time today. You can see the hook shot coming out just to get him back to safety, and Pabu thinks he's singed at the moment, wants to force him all the way back to base. Ooh. On the top now, you can see already Brawler's been taken down. Grisha takes a lot of damage in return. So it seems like the two sides of the map are kind of evening out here, Spawn.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, but the kill went over this time to the Jhin, so Raid able to pick that one up. And, you know, on the other side of the map, you see the 2 jungler and top laner once again pushing in the turret. That's going to fall down. So kill advantage goes over to Abyss because they're able to pick that one up. However, equal gold. And now they're looking for potentially another dive onto Pac-Man.
Yeah, there could be a dive bottom lane going on as we already have Fesh on the least sitting down there with Flash available. Top lane turret will fall shortly. Not going to be defended by Tainted Minds just yet, but Fesh shows himself. Just looks to push out this wave, possibly push Pac-Man off of it.
I mean, if anything lands, he's dead.
There's the cocoon coming out. Pac-Man's taking a lot of damage. Exhaust goes down on top of him. He pops the ultimate, but will get taken down. Now they're looking towards Kuden. He's trying to run away, but gets body blocked by the spider. Forced to flash away, and Tainted Minds gets some of the spells and another kill.
All of a sudden, Rek'Sai is here as well as Arise. They're going to have to try and turn this around and fight at some stage.
Rise is going to be able to come in. Pabu's trying to get
Fesh
away.
killed
Fesh
Kuden.
has taken out Kuden and flashed away. He's gotten out of that. Now we have to see if Fesh can do the exact same thing. Pabu looking to try and go back in and protect his spider, who's repelled over the wall and is running away from Frey.
So in the end, I mean, Tainted Minds on the bottom side of the map, able to get a lot of pressure. Pac-Man teleporting in. They're throwing caution in the wind here.
Frey's flashed over the bubble. Brawler not going to get locked down just yet, but Seb's gone in. Good tidal wave will knock it up. The hook shot lands onto Fesh after the flash. The spider is going to repel away. There are no raptors just yet, though. He's going to go back down on the same spot. Will get taken down by Pac-Man.
Oh,
Raid!
Ray Flash in auto attack the minion.
Oh, that's not pretty there.
You
Abyss.
hate to see it. He flashes in. That's why you don't A-click.
Ooh. Not great. Raid will hit a minion there, but pops the curtain call, looking for Praetor. Pabu and Brawler going to have to split tank this one. That's quite a bit of damage going out from him. Abyss do get a turret for their troubles, though, and now they're about 1,000 gold up over Tainted Minds.
So Abyss is ahead right now. I mean, they've played the map better. I think that's very fair to say. That was a great teleport into a gank. Pac-Man obviously on point with the mechanics there. Gets the E-Flash going. However, what they need to worry about is right now, he is 70-ish CS, so pretty much double the CS of Pac-Man with 2 kills. Whew. And at the same time, mid lane, 2 kills over onto the Zed earlier in the game, as well as equal CS nearly, means that Rise without armor really can't go near him, so they need to be able to get some form of armor on Frey. Otherwise, both split pushes are a losing lane right now.
And I mean, Raid is slightly ahead of Varus at the moment.
36 CS and a kill, I would call that pretty far ahead.
But if you look at the items, just sitting on boots too, and his double longswords. That will change now that he's going back to base. But still, Varus is rather effective with the 2 items he has now. The Yomus to give him that bit of lethality and movement speed, the tier to make sure he can keep poking out.
Well, the other cool thing you can kind of do on Varus is just upgrade your tier early into a Manamune, and it gives you like an artificial spike. Because as soon as that transform, and it transforms much quicker when you have more Manamune picked up, it gives you like good damage. Like it's not still as good as going full lethality when you're ahead, but it still gives you something to play around.
Good source of raw AD as well.
Yeah. So you hit the back line for, you know, similar damage, you just don't hit the front line for nearly as much.
Well, Pac-Man is starving at the moment, so that's one less frontline member to worry about. Seb is doing a great job, though. 71 CS, 2 kills and an assist. Looking for his Dead Man's Plate, I believe is the next item for the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, it's a great route to go. I mean, the 2 very cheap, cost-effective armor items being picked up. We don't really see crit at all picked up anymore, Fish, so unfortunately Randuin's, my old favorite item, is gone. So now we have a little bit of a collapse into the top lane. I mean, Praetor is being cheeky here, but Seb's in the wing.
Ooh, jumps over the wall straight in towards Seb. Rise pops the ultimate, will get over as well. Just forces the flash out. Pinnacle comes out. Predator gets hit by the first 2 shots and the third. Can he dodge the 4th? He can't. That's Raid going to take him down.
I actually think that was just Harold bopping him in the head. He took a couple of swings at the young Praetor then and came up the better man.
It looks like it. Raid's last shot went right through him.
I mean, you don't mess with Harold unless you got a jungler with him that's pretty tanky.
No, you don't.
He, you know, puts the gloves on and is very happy to fight.
Yeah, Seb popped the praise and made him angry, and then he just went to town. himself with the poor assassin.
Looking for a fight here a little bit is Tainted Minds.
See the arrow coming out from Grisha there, not doing too much damage to Seb. He's probably the tankiest member of the team though. Pac-Man taking quite a bit of damage from Fesh there. They still want to fight for this dragon. It's a 4-on-5 for now, but Praetor is grouping.
Already on his way is Praetor. I mean, he's level 10. They probably want to wait for him to be level 11. On Assassins especially, you get such a big damage spike by getting rank 2 into your ultimate. So we'll see if that's the call to, you know, send him to a lane to farm up, or whether they do want to fight with it.
Well, he's got 11 now.
There we go. Perfect. Calculated.
Abyss have started up the Ocean Dragon though. They've already considered an Infernal. I notion this late into the game shouldn't be that detrimental to Tainted Minds, but still Dragon nonetheless for Abyss.
Yeah, I mean, pre-10 minutes, Ocean Dragons really do swing how the laning phase go, as they're actually trying to... The revenge. Yeah. That's all this is.
You bopped me, I'm going to bop you.
Exactly right. If they get that over onto Praetor, that's a pretty significant... I mean, 18 minutes on a Rift Herald for a split pushing Zed. I would say that's way more crucial than what an an Ocean Dragon is going to give you.
That's going to last till 38 minutes into the game, so very long timer.
Hashtag he did the maths, ladies and gentlemen.
Very long timer on the Glimmer of the Void buff, as Pabu is just waiting inside a bush for Pac-Man to show himself. You can already see this, Camille is very scared of the Crocodile, who is almost Flame Horizoned him.
Yeah, I mean, keeping the double CS going is impressive. And there it is, nearly one more CS, 2 more CS. Would have been a Flame Horizon. Pac-Man going to pick up majority of this CS here and try and claw his way back in.
It's about 2,500 gold up right now, Papu. That's a full item, almost.
Ryze is on the bottom turret, however, with the Rek'Sai. They're pushing in nice and greedily. This is nice to see. 2 semi-globals. Ryze can get to mid lane pretty safely with the rank 2 ultimate. Rek'Sai, of course, can go wherever her turrets may take her. And I like this. Teaming up with the 2 globals on the bottom lane means that they're shutting down the effectiveness of this Zed and actually have a big CS advantage as well as a level advantage right now going in Frey's favor.
I mean, we've seen Frey step up in a couple of his matches, but he's never closed out games for Abyss so far.
It's been an inconsistent step up is what I would say. I mean, some games he looks terrific. Game 1 versus the Chief solo killing Swiffer, that's a big deal. But the rest of that series kind of was a bit lackluster, to be honest. Of course, that is hard to play against the Chief. You know, even round 1 against Sin, game 1 was terrific. Game 2 and 3 were still good, but lacking a little bit. Curtain call mid lane.
Grisha forced to heal. Can he dodge the last one? He can't. Doesn't even need to. Deathfire Touch is going to be enough from Raid. He's caught out the 80 carry from Tainted Minds for the first time. 3 kills now on this Jhin. He's 50 CS up over his counterpart.
And the problem right now is that it's gone from 2 winning lanes to only 1 winning lane for Tainted Minds, and Abyss are controlling the rest of the map so well that there's no way in. You can see that they're actually going deep onto Praetor.
Ultimate gets used there, trying to keep himself alive, runs through the tidal wave for a bit of extra damage.
Good
bubble going out. Fesh going to be able to lock him down even further, and Seb's going to fall. Tainted Minds turn that around with the help of the turret to get a pick for themselves.
But Raid's here now, and all of a sudden they can just start chipping through. A kill for an objective is in Abyss's favor, and you can see that they're just winning the map, and this is what we said. Tainted Minds need to degrade the quality of this game, make it about fighting, not about taking objectives. And unfortunately, they just cannot do that at the moment. Abyss are like bloodhounds. They just want to keep sniffing out those objectives.
Spider almost takes him on for Fesh. But you're right, Abyss are slowly bleeding Tainted Minds out, but it's only 2,000 gold in their favor. Something we've seen from Abyss recently is they have difficulty closing out their games, like a lot of teams in the OPL at the moment. As we approach the as we get past the 20-minute mark, that's something that's got to be on Abyss's mind if they can't snowball a greater lead than what they currently have.
Yeah, I completely agree. However, their team comp should take over. I mean, they have a much superior team comp. If the 1-3-1 isn't working out for TM, there's just not enough wave clear. I mean, Varus is good, but he's been delayed so much. You can see actually going towards Edge of the Night, so components only versus completion on the side of Raid. And this is where it really starts hurting as an AD carry if you're behind.
Well, checking with the items at the moment, Pac-Man yet to pick up his Trinity Force on Camille, so very slow for him at the moment. He has been Flame Horizon by Pabu, who's gone for the Kled build, I would say. A lot of Kled being played internationally recently, gone for the Black Cleaver as well as the Titanic Hydra.
It means you can just go things like Sterix and GA, and you've got so much health, you're like a health tank. And then you've still got enough armor to really shrug off what is a lot of this lethality build. So, you know, Tabby as well as GA sorts that out for you, and then everything else just adds the raw damage that you can do, Fish.
Yep. Guardian Angel gives you both resistances you need here. And, you know, 2 lives always better than 1. Now up at the top lane, Frey looking to try and push against Praetor. Praetor not too worried about it. But he's going to take quite a bit of damage from the bush, and now he has to be a little bit scared. As he pops the ultimate, will be able to lock down Frey. Can he get out though? Exhaust is being used.
Oh, he dodged him!
Gets back onto the shadows, dodges him out. Now Fesh is in a lot of trouble as the shield comes out from Rise. Will miss that second proc of the Q. Pops the ultimate, trying to get closer. Cocoon comes out, but it doesn't matter as Frey gets a 2-on-1 outplay with a double kill.
That was still pretty nice out of Fesh. I mean, that was actually Smite Cocoon coming through, so well done for the young man. Pabu, once again, just bullying Pac-Man. This is still 3 levels. Burns the flash. But he needs to worry about the rest of the map because right now, there is no way the Zed can go toe-to-toe against the Rise, and Brawler's in trouble.
Frey going to put a lot of damage down onto the Nami. Pabu is able to turn the 2 kills around for Tainted Mind for a turret as well as a flash on their top laner, but like you mentioned, the rest of the Tainted Mind squad really falling apart. You did mention that you were impressed with Fesh's mechanics there. So am I. Him and Frey to play that well, but Frey just too much raw power there.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what happens when there's no minions to be able to hide behind the Rise Qs. As soon as he gets that empowered on you through the E, you go down really quickly. No MR picked up really by either of them. I mean, pure damage coming out of Fesh. That's a solo queue build if I've ever seen one. Only Edge of Night picked up from Praetor there. Don't think he had time to get it up either.
Nope. Rise is going to be a really big problem. Sarah's Embrace was completed by him, which was crucial in keeping him alive during that fight. He's got the arm guard as well, so a little bit of extra armor is going to help him out.
And I think that, you know, when you're Praetor at this stage of the game, you need to look towards Merc Treads. Those rune prisons just hold you in place for so much damage to come out. That's actually a little bit of trouble here.
I mean, even Frey's got his Merc Threads now, just trying to reduce the time of those cocoons. He's got his on his Hourglass, so that rises.
He's well and truly online.
It's not very easy to take him down. Fully stacked a lot of ages to boot. Even Raid's gone for his Quicksilver Sash.
This is the 3rd dragon they're giving up as well.
Yep.
And so you're not really interested in a 5v5 team fight. They have it warded and they send 2 members back to base. So without the poke going down, they're not comfortable having all 10 members on the same screen, so they go back into the 1-3-1 nice and deep. Maybe Pabu looks to try and pick up a kill on Pac-Man again.
Still, there's only 3,000 gold up. They've been holding on to just a 3,000 gold lead for a while now.
I mean, you have to look where the gold sits, however, because whilst we're saying, well, here we go.
Praetor looking for a fight. He's going to get locked down, though. Frey just takes him down and goes on a killing spree. Not much you can do there.
So as we have a look at the gold, I mean, even though it's only like, what, a 3,500 gold lead, when you take out the fact that Pac-Man is 3,000 gold down, it's actually a 6,000 gold lead for the rest of the map. I mean, you can have a look at the mid lane, 2,000 gold. Check out the 80 carries, that's 3, and now we've got a big engage.
Oh, they're going to go in for a fight. Grisha's going to have to flash away. Takes a lot of damage. Brawler trying to keep him alive. Fesh will be the first one to fall in this fight. Now, here comes the curtain call. Grisha's trying to run. Brawler's trying to run. We're just getting pincered in this choke point, and all 3 members of Tainted Minds are going to fall. Pabu, meanwhile, elsewhere on the map, not going to be able to help them out.
Yeah, exactly right. Pabu's actually under a tier 3 turret trying to brawl Pac-Man. And someone needs to remind the young Tainted Minds top laner that it's actually about winning the rest of the map at some stage. You can't just continue split pushing because it will catch up with you. It's 140 CS up, but he's the only advantage they have going for them. Now Baron's fault, he's not going to be able to push in because of Baron creeps, and Abyss are in firm control. 6,000 gold the lead.
Baron buff available for them as well. Only 1 outer turret left. Sorry, inner turret left for Abyss to take down. So Tainted Minds should now be back on defense. Here's a replay of that fight.
Yeah, great ultimate coming in. And you can see that they're just able to get so much damage out onto Fesh. That is going to be Raid picking up the kill. Then Seb persists with the other 2 members. Of course, can't fall down. He's way too tanky. And they just chase them through, able to grab all the kills up for their 80 carry. All of a sudden, Raid is well and truly online. And there's no one that can really run with Raid or Frey at this stage of the game. Still only Pabu with any kind of advantage.
Big misplay from Grisha during that fight as well. Missing the ultimate, mistiming the Rise. Teleport coming in there. Would have been crucial in such a small choke point. Might have been Fesh got out alive, but still. Abyss turned on that fight pretty quickly there. Caught them off guard. Now, let's see if they can start to slowly try and close out this game against Tainted Minds. Up in the top lane, they have Frey already trying to split push. Praetor is still the one sent to deal with this Rise. Not going to have a great time here. Does have the Glimmer of the Void available, but we've seen that hasn't mattered too much against Frey.
Yeah, you'd say completely ineffective. He's 3 levels down, so whatever gap there is between the Camille and the Renekton now exists. Maybe looking for a teleport play, however.
It seems like that's what Renekton's been waiting for, but Praetor is dead, and immediately Palu walks off with the Fountain. They had some deep wards ready for him to teleport to, but losing their mid laner, not going to be great for Tainted Minds.
Yeah, it means it's just not going to happen now. 7,000 gold in Abyss. With a little bit of chaos in the early game, still showing that they can make it happen in the late game. And Frey as well as Raid have just been the stars that they're looking for. Seb got it rolling early with some very good pathing to cut off any aggression that Fesh had. However, since then it has been the complete Abyss Esports show.
Means Abyss will be able to take down the inner turret up in the top lane. Harbor's trying to go in and get some damage down to Raid. He's forcing the flash away from the bubble. But lots of heals coming out.
I mean, have a look at that. That's without the AD carry there. Pabu can nearly one-shot Raid. If they just had have committed to team fighting a little bit earlier, I feel that they would have been able to get it done. Now, however, with the map opening up, Pac-Man's just going to be able to catch up.
And it looked like that's what they were trying to set up when they were pushing for the top lane inner before Praetor went down. Losing their mid laner means they didn't want to risk that 4-on-5. They do get a flash and a heal for that. But that's all they're going to get in the bottom lane. They might be able to defend their base a little bit longer here, Spawn. Abyss only take 1 turret with that Baron buff.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, they're going to back. They're going to look to reset the map. There's only 2 minutes on a Dragon, so that's going to be great news for Abyss. They've had complete control over that objective. Then they move into Elder Drake territory, so everything's still really A-OK for the Abyss lineup. They're 8,000 gold up. I mean, nothing really that you can do when you're this far behind if you are TM, apart from hope that you get that miracle assassination onto Frey and you're able to snowball the rest of the fight.
Speaking of Frey, he's back down in the bottom lane, continuing what he does best, split pushing and destroying minion waves. He's already got his Haunting Guys picked up, looking for Lilandry's Torment as his next item. That's going to be brutal. More health for him, more damage, more penetration.
Fesh has made a little bit of an error here. The only things that you can build out of a needlessly large rod are a death cap, which you generally don't go, as well as what a Luden's Echo, which he's already got on his blue enchant. Or you can go for a Seraph, which I feel he's maybe a little bit too late in stacking at this stage of the game.
It's the, feels like the Rylai's has changed syndrome coming out from Fesh.
We've all done it.
Far too many times. Seb's going to take quite a bit of damage though, down to half health just from the jungler support combo. Still packs a punch, but yeah, Rylai's used to build out of needlessly large rod, now only blasting one. And Rylai's is probably the go-to item after Liandry's.
Maybe Zonya's as well. That also doesn't build out of that anymore.
Nope. I still make that mistake. People rage at me.
However, I feel like they got their lane assignments a little bit better. They've got the very suppressed Camille going up against the Zed, who also has been held down. Actually, to the point where Camille's ahead of the Zed at the moment, as well as the Fed Renekton, the only member left on the side of Tainted Minds that is ahead, going up against the Rise. So you can see that the wave clear is much easier at this stage of the game, and they were able to stall out a lot of that Baron.
Ooh, they might actually try and look for a fight here. Camille is split pushing the top lane, but Tainted Minds have grouped up as 5.
I mean, they have to go soon if they want to go for it, because otherwise Camille just takes the base.
Yep. And it looks like they're going to try and force down this Dragon. Infernal Dragon is the target of choice. Camille's already on the top lane inhibitor turret. That's going to take quite a bit of damage. They take it down nice and early. Turret's down a half health. Brawler, it's going to get locked down here. There's the Zonya's coming out from Frey, keeping himself alive. They do lose their inhibitor turret during this fight. Let's see if Tainted Minds can try and take this one down before he can join them. Frey's been jumped on by Praetor. There's the ultimate coming out from the Zed. Shuts him down, pops him like a balloon. And Pabu's now gone into the back lines, looking to lock down Kudin. He will be able to get back, but they lose their inhibitor on top of that. Tainted Minds win a fight, but lose their base.
Yeah, exactly right. All of a sudden, Kudin's still being stalked here by Pabu.
He's going to get locked down. Does have the blast cone to get himself back to safety, or potentially on top of him, but we'll use it to jump away.
So you actually have to give pretty big props right now to how Tainted Minds went about that. They were able to equalize Infernal Dragons, which is going to be good, as well as the fact that they got a huge shutdown onto Frey, which means that, you know, they're going to be able to control a little bit more of the map. They got some much needed gold onto Praetor, and now they soak up these big minion waves. So even though they lost the inhibitor, it is the one closest to Baron, going to be a little bit easier to control, and it will be back up when Infernal Dragon is ready to spawn.
On top of that,
Elder Dragon.
On top of that, Tainted Minds do have 2 very strong split pushes at the moment, so they can probably deal with those super minions pretty well, but it's still not a great thing to have your base broken 30 minutes into the game.
I mean, when you're 8,000 gold down 30 minutes into the game, there's no really good choices to make. You just have to make a choice. And I like to see that they're still willing to commit to something.
Yep.
Even if they lose something else in the end, I mean, they're still huge. They've got all that scaling come through, so at least they equalize the scaling of the Dragons. Still the sustain on the side of Abyss. But it is, you know, a launching platform they can look to rebuild on.
And I mean, if you can continue trading, the longer you stay out the game, the more irrelevant gold becomes. So if Tainted Minds can continue making these trades, although they'll slowly lose bits and pieces, they might be able to hold on long enough to go for a full 5-on-5 fight inside of their own base. But Baron is back up and available. Abyss have cleared out wards, picked up the Scuttle Crab, and looking to see if they can force a fight or potentially force a take of this Baron.
Yeah, now they have to look to try and maybe catch Raid or something like that, who's staying in the mid lane, because if they run into the 5v5 here, I feel, especially with the teleports coming in from Camille, they're at a supreme disadvantage, because their backline, level 14, level 12, just not going to be nearly as good as shredding through the Camille as what the Rise is going to be able to do to that Renekton.
Checking with Raid now. He's got his Infinity Edge, as well as a Mercurial Scimitar.
There we go. Baron started up. They do know it's been pinged out. Parbu going in.
They're looking for the fight here. Tainted Minds going to try and initiate. Teleport also coming out from Pac-Man. Parbu has separated Frey, but he's being locked out. The rest of Abyss going to get locked out. Kunin is the first target. He falls. Praetor gets the kill. Pac-Man's gone in and flashed away. Tainted Minds have one member up. Seb's now the target. He's going to pop. Ray does take down Fresh though, and Pac-Man will lose his Guardian Angel. Parbu's already getting into that backline. Look at Frey. He's gone. Praetor's now going on a killing spree, and Pac-Man is forced to fight for his life. Good flash from Baller to get himself to safety, and Tainted Minds fight back, get 4 kills for 1.
And Parbu was able to block out all the shots coming out of Raid there and just allowed Praetor to get onto the squishies. He zoned pretty much the whole team, and now Tainted Minds actually looking to push into a turret, try and equalize some of this gold.
You do have a big minion wave pushing on the top side of the map. Tainted Minds will have to send someone back shortly, but they will be able to take down the turret for themselves. Abyss are going to get some of their members back online. They could potentially try and pressure Baron again without these teleports available. But Tainted Minds now only 4,000 gold away from Abyss.
And that's exactly what they needed. We had big teleports coming in. Of course, you can see Pac-Man there on your screen. Appears in the fight, but look at Parbu at the front of this team fight. He's just able to block out the bullets. Pac-Man can't get access. Seb can't get access. And all of a sudden, you just have this huge crocodile who is able to, I mean, zone the 2 damage-dealing threats, and everyone else can just put out as much damage as they want.
And one player from Tainted Minds I really want to highlight here is Brawler. I mean, Brawler hasn't been a fantastic player in the laning phase, but every single team fight, fantastic redemptions, good bubbles, good tidal waves, even exhausting Pac-Man when he comes in, all down to flashing away from that final shot that would have killed him. Great play coming out from him in these team fights, and Tainted Minds, for a very new team, looking like a cohesive unit in these fights.
New social media competition, guess which lane Fish plays in solo queue the most. Hint, it may or may not be support. But
this is not true.
He played it well. You told me you were support main the other night. I have the recording. Don't you lie to me.
But I never get put support. I always get auto-filled top.
Ray takes half of his health, so these arrows are starting to hurt. And Parbu back in again.
He's going to get locked down by multiple members. Good ultimate coming out from Varus. Frey's being locked down by that. Forced to use the Zhonya's. He'll be able to get back up and alive, but for how long? Grisha gets that first kill. Parbu's trying to get out of the front lines. He's nice and low. Prayed at the next target. Here comes the curtain call. Tainted Minds going to have to try and split tank this one. Parbu takes the 4th shot. It's going to miss there coming out from Raid, and Abyss are going to have to disengage, losing their mid laner.
It's still a 1-for-0. They've stalled this enough where it is actually going to be Inhibitor coming back up. 6 items coming through for the 2 biggest members, I guess. Parbu half an item away. Frey on the cusp of it as well. And it just looks like the front-to-back style of this game, the brawl-heavy nature, means you can't get through Parbu. He's too damn tanky.
Abyss are looking to try and take down this Baron. It's a Jhin and a Rek'Sai. You don't take down Baron that quickly to start things off.
I mean, they don't have their Rise. They need to get the heck out. They actually might have just leashed it for the opponents there, because still 15 seconds. Doesn't look like Tainted Minds want to capitalize in that way. Instead, looking to push out the lanes, maybe look towards an Elder Drake or something like that. But that was a risky call from Abyss.
Now Parbu's going to stay up on the top side of the map. You mentioned Renekton starts to fall off later on in the game. when you pick up 6 items close to 40 minutes, it's
Yeah,
a
you're
good
not
pick
falling
for
off
him.
anywhere. I mean, when everyone else has 6 items, sure, but I mean, he's nearly 6 items and Pac-Man's 4. So if you want to pick a top laner to go with right now, I'm still taking the 420 CS Renekton at 37 minutes.
306 as well. His teleport's coming back up and online soon. So is Pac-Man's. He might be a little bit caught out here as Seb tries to go toe-to-toe. Ultimate comes out from Frey, delivers Kuden. Good tidal wave. Going to come out as
Pac-Man's
well.
over.
Trying to get on top of Pabu. Pops the ultimate. He's going to pop the Dominus as well. Healing up quite a bit of damage. Waiting for the team to try and collapse. He flashes away. Dices out. Going to get the bullets blocked coming out from the rest of his team.
Oh, they didn't block it!
Oh! The wanted curve coming out from Ray gets a kill onto the top laner.
And Fesh was full health as well as Grisha, but they weren't able to block it. Kuden all of a sudden in some trouble.
Oh, Seb trying to go back in. Grisha's taking down Kuden. Fesh is going to get locked down though, forced to repel away. Here comes the fight as a double kill will come out of Grisha and Tainted Minds defend 4 on 5.
They used so much to pick up Pabu that nothing was available for that team fight. I mean, you can see that they didn't have an exhaust apart from on Frey, who was nowhere near the front line. So they dive in, they're able to pick up Kuden, they're able to pick up Seb, who unfortunately has been like ultied like the last 3 team fights from Praetor. Don't know what Seb potentially said, but I think you're generally supposed to ult the carries, and yet he is the one copying full force of that Z ult.
My goodness, Abyss slowly not able to take control of this game. We already mentioned they have trouble closing things out. Tainted Minds fighting back nice and strong. We have an almost even game between these 2 teams now.
And you know, apparently you can take some of the starters off Tainted Minds, but you still can't remove the chaos from the lineup. This is looking very much like last week's games. We're up to, what, 29 kills in 38 minutes?
You can change the minds of the squad, but they're still going to be tainted here, squad.
Oh, God.
Abyss, though, looking for another
This is going to be a
Baron play.
pre-Baron. All of a sudden, you know, you see the little bit of a pathing error coming out. Fesh was on the bottom side of the map. There's no way they can get in time.
That's going to go. Rise ultimate to get them back out. Nice, clean Baron take from Abyss.
That's actually really good macro play out of Abyss. I mean, they were able to, you know, figure out where Fesh was on the map. Now that means that Elder Drake going to be the next big objective, because Baron doesn't really give you that greater combat stats or anything like that. So we'll see if they're able to use it for a winning team fight.
Still gives you a nice chunk of AD and AP, but as you mentioned,
Elder
not
Drake's
detrimental.
better.
Certainly is. Let's see if Abyss try to pincer for this one. They do have Pabu Swift pushing the top lane. Abyss are going to look to try and take this one down. Renixon's going back to base. But this is going to fall nice and easy. Here comes the teleport. Tainted Minds don't want to give this up. Vesh actually looking to see if he can try to steal this one away. They might be able to take this one. Seb's going back in. It's going to be a smite battle to get the Elder Drake. Let's see who gets it. It is going to go to Abyss. And now the full-on 5-on-5 fight breaks out. Praetor's gone into the back lines. Pops the ultimate down. He will get locked down and shut down by Frey. Tainted Minds have to slowly start to retreat for this one. Pabu's gone in. Doesn't have GA, but Raids popped the crit shot into the face of Grisha. And Tainted Minds lose 4.
Yeah, that's going to be game. They have Baron. They have an Elder Dragon. They've got 50 seconds to be able to push in. That is a late game team fight. You can see that they're going back, trying to prep the wave. Not really all that much TM can do. And as soon as that Elder Drake went over, you just felt like the last hope was snuffed out.
And that was a smite battle to finish this one off between Fesh and Seb. Now they're just pushing slowly on towards the base. 30 seconds on Grisha and Praetor, 20 on Fesh.
There's not enough time. I mean, they're walking in. They've got great turret takers with the triple Elder Dragon. They're going to be able to clean this one up.
Teleporting the minions in closer on top of that. Turrets are going to fall second. In hit. Sorry, next thing. Can't do words here at the end of the game as the Nexus turret is going to fall. Abyss are going to be able to take this one down 40 minutes into the game against Tainted Minds.
You can see grins on the captain's face there, Seb. Wasn't as clean as I'm sure they would have hoped. However, every macro call seemed to be in their favor. I mean, they were able to trade turrets. They were able to get kills on the board. They ignored Pabu for a lot of that game and just allowed him to become big, but knew that the scaling of the Rise was still available. So as much as a good call you can make, they were able to get it done. Tainted Minds, they should take a lot of confidence from that. I mean, the Rise got shut down and they were still able to win the split push battle. I mean, there are a lot of positives there for TM. This is a series.
Yeah, it looked like they're going to be able to fight back, and that's just game 1 of a best of 3 series, so I'm excited to see what the next few matches are going to be about. But for now, let's send it back to the analyst desk to break down that game.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, there we have it. Abyss, proactive play, sees them take one game over this new Tainted Minds squad. But the story of this game seems to be Pabu is out of nowhere, 450-odd CS in this game. T-Gun, I mean, you said going into this you were impressed with the guy. You played a lot with him. But, I mean, did you expect him to kind of hard carry as much as he did, or tried to at least?
I expected him to do well. I'm going to be honest here. I expect him to really do well. He had to prove something against Pac-Man, who famously replaced him on Abyss. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect for Necton. I didn't expect him to almost. I don't think he did. I think he almost double Flame Horizoned him.
Yeah, very
but
close
he,
there. Very close.
He put on a hell of a show. It just wasn't enough.
Well,
Well,
it's
let's
just,
sorry.
yeah, it was just one of those cases where he played a very lane priority champion. He managed to make it work initially in that lane game, but eventually he does fall off. But he played a really good show.
And as we take a look at this draft, we see a lot of new picks because of 7.3 as well, right? We see Camille not just getting through the ban phase, but also not even being first pick priority, Tegan.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's just because of 7.3. I would say it's Tainted Minds had these counter picks planned. I guarantee that's why they didn't pick Camille. They were like, whatever, let's play Renekton. I think Predif just was going to play Zed. I don't think it mattered what was picked. So I think that might be what got them through. And I don't like it as a choice. Yes, Renekton popped off, but could he have done better on Camille? Like you were saying before, on an off-meta champion, you can only play to such a level instead of playing the strong meta champions. So maybe that should be the decision they change, even though he played really, really well. Exceptional even. I don't want to take anything away from him. But could a better champion have fit him better?
I think in that specific situation, it would probably be a no because of how well he played. I mean, maybe if he was playing Alawi, yeah, but we realized that it was actually taken away from him. But the thing is that in that situation, I have to say, he did so well that it probably was worth the investment into Renekton.
All right, well, let us take a look at this First Blood replay. And Mendrix, as we bring this up, what are we looking for here? What makes this an important piece of gameplay?
What makes this important is how he's able to predict the flash. Fesh jumped in, knew exactly where he was going to go to. I mean, it ended up being a double kill going across, but that just shows what Fesh is capable of. It didn't play too much because the game went late. When the game goes that late, then it ends up being one of those situations where it wasn't too big for Seb coming through afterwards because of the double kill. But it's actually big, just illustrating how strong he is mechanically.
Yeah, I would say something else to think of is it was a great play, but were they thinking of the map? Because Seb was obviously able to come in, clean up, get the double kill. Was that a thought? Were they thinking, it doesn't matter if he comes, we're just going to go for it? Or what was the thought process behind there? Because that could be a bit of the solo queue creeping in there.
Now,
Exactly.
I want to highlight something because one of the storylines throughout this entire split for Abyss has been Frey. Just, as Frostgren deemed him last year, the one true mid laner, obviously. But there was a moment today where he really kind of showed how exactly he meant to use this Rise ulti, the teleport.
That's correct, yeah. So I was coming into the next replay that we're going to see. He used it in the right moment in time as they're going for the fight, right in between there, blocking their retreat. This is, a fantastic twite away from Brolo there, but this is how you're supposed to play Rise. It's going to block off the retreat, gets your team exactly where it needs to be, always in a favorable position, and they're able to clean up off the back of this. This is what really puts them in a commanding lead until the next sort of replay comes around.
Yeah, it was perfect. There's nothing else to say. They know Parbu can't TP. He didn't have his Spirit Visage. He had 0 MR. He's not going to go near a Rise. Why would you? He's going to stay in the side lane. And
Keep
they
away from
made
that Rise.
Yeah, they made a great decision. They killed everyone else. That's what you got to do, right?
If he TP's down at that point in the game, he's literally just going to get blown up.
Yeah, he's dead. There's nothing he can do. So that was just really, really good decision making by Abyss. They know, all right, our side lane is just, we can't kill this guy, but he's not getting enough. He wasn't getting the inhib. He wasn't really splitting enough. So why deal with it? Why not just kill everyone else?
Just avoid it the entire time.
I mean, when we talk about Parbu, though, his build as well, when we were watching this backstage, you were saying it kind of reminded you a bit of a solo Q build, right?
Yeah.
Like a solo Q build, I should say.
Bit of both.
Because a lot of damage, not a lot of MR, and perhaps thinking more, I need to carry this game.
Yeah, we even said he might have went Ravenous Hydra instead of Titanic, and that would have been the ultimate this is solo Q build, right? The only reason it worked is because he got so far ahead. He's up 2 kills, he's up 80 CS early. That's why you start going these items.
And the reason why as well it seems to be so more solo queue heavy is because he built pure armor. I mean, you have to look at it in terms of him going, if you go armor that early for that long, you're basically saying, all I want to verse is Camille, keep showing me where Camille is in these lanes, I'm going to go exactly there, make sure I can keep her down.
Yeah, Mendrix, what about this Baron fight we saw about 33 minutes into the game?
So yeah, this is sort of a turning point actually coming into it. Because this is what's really good about this play that we're looking at specifically. Pac-Man is late, but that's not the big point. Frey walked off to the side there. As you can see, he's walking back into the team fight now. But he actually was nowhere near this fight. And then this allows Tainted Mind to have fantastic target priority. They're able to just jump into a phrase like, I'm here to help guys, but it's too late, you're dead again. And this is actually the point where Tainted Minds can actually fight back. Parbu's so tanky, he's so strong at that particular point because he's finally managed to complete his item set. He's got himself a Spirit Visage, a Dead Man's Plate, so he's got a good mix of resistances to make sure that he remains healthy in the fights. But at the end of the day, you really cannot do that. You really cannot just walk away from your team the moment a team fight breaks out. You have to be there. You have to commit to it.
I would say that was pretty much a perfect fight from Tainted Minds, except one thing. The last bullet of Jin got through on Fesh, kills Fesh, now they can't do the Baron. If they were able to get the Baron there, I would say they probably would have won the game. I don't think it would be too outlandish to say, but that one bullet sweeps past Pabu, curves a bit through an old player, smacks Fesh right in the head, and now you've lost the objective you were fighting for.
Well, there we have it. Pabu's Renekton. Will we see his return in Game 2 of this series, or will Raid's Jin just maintain that dominance like he did in Game 1? We're back with Game 2 right after this.
Frey predicts the flash coming out from Fesh. Will be able to take down Frey for first blood, but he's locked underneath the turret, and a double kill comes out of Seb. As pops the ultimate, will be able to lock down Frey. Can he get out there? Exhaust has been used.
He dodged him.
Gets back onto the shadows, dodges him out. Now Fesh in a lot of trouble as the shield comes out from Rise. Will miss that second rock of the cube. Pops the ultimate trying to get closer. Cocoon comes out, but it doesn't matter as Frey gets a 2-on-1 outplay with a double kill. Now here comes the curtain call. Grisha's trying to run, Brawler's trying to run, but just getting pincered in this choke point, and all three members of Tainted Minds are going to fall. Close and a half hour. Brawler is going to get locked down here. There's Azonia's coming up from Frey, keeping himself alive. They do lose their inhibitor time during this fight. Let's see if Tainted Minds can try and take this one down before he can join them. Frey's been jumped on by Kratos. There's the ultimate coming out from the Zed, shuts him down, pops him like a balloon, and Pabu's now gone into the back lines, looking to lock down Kuden. He will be able to get back. Now Kuden is the first target. He falls. Kratos gets the kill. Pac-Man's gone in and flashed away. Tainted Minds have one member up. Seb's now the target. He's going to pop. Ray does take down Fresh though, and Pac-Man will lose his Guardian Angel. Pabu's already getting into that back line. Look at Frey. He's gone. Kratos now going on a killing spree, and Pac-Man is forced to fight for his life. Good flash from Baller to get himself to safety, and Tainted Minds fight back. Get 4 kills for 1. Now, gonna get the bullets blocked coming out from the rest of his team.
Oh, they didn't block it.
The wanted curve coming out from Ray gets a kill onto the top laner. It's going to be a smite battle to get the Elden Drake. Let's see who gets it. It is going to go to Abyss, and now the full-on 5-on-5 fight breaks out. Kratos gone into the back lines, pops the ultimate down. He will get locked down and shut down by Frey.
Chosen of the moon.
Art should terrify. They won't survive. There's nowhere to hide.